It's been a while since we've tested 7.62x51, but today we have Ammo Inc. 7.62x51, so let's load it up and test it. All right, let's get to it. Our first number we got is 3,773. There's no way that that's correct, so we're going to throw that number out. $2,703. $2,706. $2,695. $2,716. $2,732. $2,750. $2,761. $2,737. $2,767.
So you saw the time on the range. Our velocity low was 26.95 and our velocity high was 27.67, leading to a spread of 27 feet per second from lowest to highest. Now that isn't super tight, that isn't necessarily super loose. This is about what we would expect with standard ball ammunition. And our velocity was 2,729.7. Now that's a pretty regular average, although it is a little bit lower than every other one we've tested, actually about 50 feet per second lower than the other ammunitions we've tested. Now we're going to talk about this more in a second, but the bullets are a little bit heavier, so that's probably why we're dealing with that. As you would expect with modern production ammunition, all of these rounds fired correctly. Now there isn't really much to talk about with this ammo when it comes to the history, since it's a modern ammo manufactured in a modern plant. But what I do have to say is just a few things. One, some people with this ammo have had issues with the bullets being uneven in the seat. Now, I do have a picture of 2 rounds that were in the boxes that I had where this was noticeable. So you'll see one of the bullets is more recessed than the other one. In a specific video by, I think it's Hop Life of Hale or however you pronounce this channel name, he said that he was having issues feeding this ammo in a semi-automatic rifle. However, I've shot a whole box of this ammo, and in the bolt guns that I've tested it in, I have not had any issues personally. So, if you are using your old 7.62x51 chambered military surplus rifle, like this Ishapore 2A1, or if you're using your 308 hunting rifle and it's just plinking ammo, I don't think you'll have any issues. But it is still something to be aware of that in some rifles you might have issues with feeding this ammunition. Honestly, you might just need to buy it before you can really experience that firsthand. Now, as far as the history part of this goes, this is modern ammunition manufactured in a modern factory. It is made in the United States. However, I've noticed that these cases have SAR 18 written on the back, and I know that SAR or SAR is a term for a factory in Turkey. If you look at the SAR pistols, you'll see a CC75 variant that is manufactured in Turkey. I think, and I'm not certain on this, but I think that the brass for these is manufactured in Turkey. I may be wrong on that, that's just my observation, and from the cursory amount of research that I did. But that's what I think is going on here. As far as the other components, I'm not entirely sure, but the ammunition itself is put together in the United States. It is put together rather cheaply, and that's why you will notice that some of the bullets are more recessed than others. It's just not made to a perfect standard like you would get if you bought some higher quality ammunition. But I have shot more than 100 rounds of this ammunition, and I have had no issues with the ammo I shot, and my results were actually pretty consistent. One of the things I like about this ammo is that it comes in these little ammo cans. So this one holds 120 rounds. So let's look at what it says. It says ammo incorporated, 7.62 by 51 millimeter, 150 grain FMJ, 120 cartridge, military brass ammo can. And then it has the ballistics data, a muzzle velocity. This one says of 2,800 feet per second. And then it just has the usual warning from ammo that this can expose you to freedom. And then at least the box itself is made in the USA. All right, so then has a handle on top right there, and then just 2 little zip ties on it to stop people from, I guess, stealing from the store. So let's cut those off, and then you can just undo it. Like that, and we have 120 rounds in here. So these are what the rounds look like. You can see the annealing on the case right there. So it's gonna have 2 different colors. It's just gonna change color right here, and that's because they harden the front part to make it a little bit more durable. And then the head stamp on the back says SAR 18 762 by 51. And I believe that that SAR is because this brass is made in Turkey. Now, I don't know that for sure, but that's just from what I believe from a little bit of research I did. Now, let's talk about those bullets so we can talk about why this ammunition was a little bit slower than other ammunition in a similar category. So the bullet weight low was 149.1 and the high was 150.3. That leads to a total spread of 1.2 from the lowest one to the highest one, and an average of 149.95. This ammunition is almost exactly 150 grains, which is advertised on the box, and other ammunitions that are in the same category range anywhere from about 145 to 146. So because this ammunition is about 4 to 7 grains higher than the others in weight, it would make sense that the velocity would be a little bit slower if it has the same chamber pressure. All right, let's look at these bullets. So you can see that this just looks normal. There's nothing really out of the ordinary here, other than the fact that it is flat on the back. There's nothing really good or bad about that. It's just different. Some rounds are different in that way. And then I really like to see that these rounds do have a sealant in between the bullet and the case, and that does help keep out some moisture. So it means that these rounds will be a little bit better in humid climates. Our range for the powder measurements was 41.9 grains to 42.3 grains, which gives us a spread of 0.4 grains from the lowest to the highest, and our average was 42.08 grains. Now, again, this is a little bit lower than the others, but it's also a different kind of powder. The powders aren't really an even straight across comparison like the velocities and the bullets are, because there's just so many different factors, such as how the powder was made and what type of powder it is. There's nothing to really talk about with this powder except that it is a very small disc powder. Small ball and disc powders are the hardest for me to measure because they are just so small and they tend to escape around the cracks of the inertial bullet puller that I use. So I measured the best I could, but that's just something I feel like I should note. Now, before we get to my opinion of this ammo, we're going to talk about just one more thing first. I actually have 2 different types of this brand of ammunition. This video is on the 150 grain ball ammo, but I've also found 168 grain boat-tailed hollow points. Now, typically, boat-tailed hollow point ammunition would be like match grade or sniper type ammunition, and I know I just said sniper type and that's really cheesy, but you understand what I mean when I say that. So I do actually have these boat-tailed hollow point rounds, and when I do the video on this ammunition, I would like to take both of these ammos out and accuracy test them. So I don't have an accuracy test to show you in this video, I'm sorry about that, but I will have one for you later when I shoot this ammunition as well, which is the boat-tailed hollow points. Now, what is my recommended use for this ammunition? Well, the first thing is, it is really good plinking ammo if your gun can feed it reliably. And even if your gun can't feed it reliably, I've found that failure drills can still be pretty useful to do, and it can help you if you're doing something for like a tactical type setting. A failure drill can be just a really good way to be ready for if you have your rifle stop at the worst possible time. So, in any case, regardless of where you are, buying a box of this ammunition might not be a bad idea. If it works well, then you can continue to buy it if it's cheap in your area, and if it doesn't work well, then you just practice some stoppage drills and those types of things, and then once you shoot through it, you never have to buy it again. Now, I bought this ammunition for an almost absurdly low 50 cents a round. That's basically unheard of in this market, and that is a very, very fair price for what I received, since I haven't had any issues with this ammo so far. Given that some people have had issues, Personally, I don't know if I would really recommend this as a like duty grade or tactical environment type of ammunition, but for plinking ammo, I think it'll work perfectly fine for you. However, if it works well in your rifle and you've tested it to a good degree, if you decide to put it in that role, I can't really stop you if you found that in your rifle it works well. This rifle is the furthest thing from a tactical rifle for me, so in this rifle I'm going to continue feeding it with this ammo as frequently as I can get it cheaply. I mean, I did buy the one box that I bought to test in this video, and then when I went back to the place where they had this, I bought 2 more boxes, so 240 more rounds. If this ammunition is as available and inexpensive for you as it is for me, I would definitely have no issue recommending it as a plinking ammo, and maybe for other things too if you deem it for that purpose. However, personally, I don't know if I would feel comfortable using this ammo for that, because it's manufactured to a lower quality, and because other people have had issues with it in certain rifles. That being said though, I want to hear your guys' opinion. Have you had experience with this ammunition, and if so, was that experience positive or negative? Also, would you feel comfortable with what I talked about in this video, using this ammunition in a professional setting, yes or no? However, whatever you believe, I am 8mm Mauser man, and I shot a whole bunch of really cheap 7.62x51, but I lived on.
Which proves it's hard to get the best of a man named John.
John.